Are you here? Are you here? Are you there?
I'm everywhere.
How you doing?
I'm good. I actually just started watching the Josh Gad throwback Together Apart Lord of the Rings edition because I was a big fan of Lord of the Rings. So I'm like, my inner child is like, creepy. I'm like, oh my God, there you guys
How
are.
was that?
I mean, I'm only 12 minutes into it, but it's I'm
Oh.
thoroughly enjoyed. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I mean, it's got to be epic.
Oh, epic.
It's like watching the Brady Bunch opening. How many squares are there?
So far, there's only 7, but there's going to be more joining them. It's going to be, it's 50 minutes long. It's an intense thing to go.
I just had Josh on my podcast. I interviewed him. It was very cathartic.
Did you really? Oh.
Yes.
Was he talking about his Reunited Apart series that he's doing right now?
Yes, he had, what did he do? He did
The Goonies.
Splash, he did Goonies, yeah, he did a bunch of stuff, right?
He did Back to the Future,
cool.
I believe. Yeah, he's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I like it. I mean, this is probably my favorite one right now because I was like, spoiler alert, I've actually never really seen the Goonies all the way through.
What?
I know. I'm a terrible, terrible nerd. I'm a terrible geek. Well, I mean, when did the Goonies come out? Like 1980 something?
80s, mid-80s, yeah.
Yeah. So I was born in 86, which is not really an excuse because I've watched things from like the 50s. But like for some reason, I think I just missed that whole thing of the Goonies, and I went straight to Barbie and the Rockstars and He-Man and She-Ra. I think I was watching more cartoons when I was younger than live-action kid movies.
Jem and the Holograms.
Jem, yes. Jem and the Holograms, definitely. But I was more of like I said, I think we went into this last time. Like I was more of the Saturday morning Disney and Nickelodeon cartoons. So I was watching Hey Arnold and Doug.
Yeah.
And Rugrats, big on Rugrats. Oh God.
I actually watched Rugrats. Rugrats. You know, like there were those cartoons that you watched when you were way too old for the cartoon, but you watched it anyway because it was transitional to a cartoon that you want to watch, so you watched it anyway because it was part of your cartoon time, and it kind of like relaxed you,
Yeah, it was. That for me was Avatar: The Last Airbender because I was already like in my late teens.
Yeah.
And that was a great cartoon.
I was very happy to watch Shirt Tales in order to get to like G.I. Joe,
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was big on DuckTales, not really on TaleSpin. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Let's see, what else did I watch? I watched a lot. Of course, Batman the Animated Series, and then followed by the Justice League Animated Series, which I can still watch Justice League Animated Series and be very happy with it.
Very happy.
I'll be very happy.
Extremely happy.
Yeah. So.
And my guilty pleasure, I guess it's not that guilty. I mean, I love anything Genndy Tartakovsky does now, so like he did Powerpuff Girls and he did Dexter's Lab and he also did the
Samurai Jack.
Star Wars miniseries and he also, say that again?
Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack is my favorite, yeah. So that's my jam. Like I would when Samurai Jack came out, like holy shit. I would have Samurai Jack viewing parties where I would just have, and this is like well after college, I would just be like, come over to the house. We're going to do gravity bong hits. We're going to turn the lights out, and we're going to watch Samurai Jack.
That's epic. I was big on Dexter's Laboratory. And she's like, ooh, Dexter's Laboratory. Ooh, Dee Dee, what is this?
Oh, yes.
What does this button do? And she's like twinkle-toeing it around.
Dee Dee, yeah.
And then Mandark. I am Mandark. Ah, ha, ha, ah, ha, ha, ha.
Holy shit. Mandark.
we talked about his new. Let's see. Last year at San Diego Comic-Con, I interviewed him about his new cartoon. That's like the one with the caveman and the dinosaur. I feel like a bad journalist right now. I don't remember what the name of it was. It was like a mature adult cartoon that was coming out on Adult Swim.
It was a feature, right?
Yeah. No, I think it was a cartoon series. Here we go. Tartakovsky. I said it's so Russian. I was like, Tartakovsky. He's like, yes, it's easier if you say it in a Russian accent. Tartakovsky. Let's see. Yeah, Primal. That's what it's called.
I'll have to check it out. I like how he does action, but he's also does comedy really well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's he's great. He's very kind. He's very soft spoken and very grateful, very humble about his career in the cartoon world and very respectful. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's very, very nice.
I love Ren and Stimpy, right? So like Ren and Stimpy and like early Powerpuff Girls would play back to back.
Yep.
Late night Nickelodeon, I think, and that was the best. Best.
Yeah. Do you watch
Ren? Who? Courage, what? The Cowardly Dog, of course. Courage.
Yes.
Courage disturbed me.
Yeah, it was very scary.
Yeah, it was very disturbing. I mean, and his voice also got to me after a while. He was just always like, you know. He was always like wobbling and.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He upset me.
Yeah. Do you know there's one cartoon that I've just never watched a single episode, and everyone always chastises me, which is SpongeBob SquarePants. And they're like, yeah, but you're from Texas. Why aren't you watching the show? There's a character from Texas. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Let me just run and watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's wrong with you?
The squirrel.
I didn't watch it at all. I didn't get into it at all when it was in its first. I never get into anything right away, and except The Simpsons. The Simpsons, I was into them since the Tracy Ullman show, but everything else, like it took me a while to get into. Like I would sit back anytime anyone was like, "You have to watch Family Guy. There's this baby on, and he's so fun." Like I would. That was going on through college, and I was just like, I can't. I'll wait till the second. I'll wait for the second wave, you know. And then I love Family Guy. It's really cool, but I didn't get into the first wave of it for some reason. I don't know why.
I think it was like that with Game of Thrones. Like I didn't really watch it the first season.
Yeah, me too.
And and they were like, "You have to watch this show," and I was like, "Why?" They're like, "If you love Lord of the Rings, you will love this show." I was like, I don't know. And then I remember watching the first episode and not being into it because I was like, I have no idea what's going on. There's so many names. Yeah. What is happening? I don't think I really got into it. I think I almost quit it after season 2 because, like, no, I hate this little kid, Joffrey. And then, like, season 3, which is, like, I hated him. He was so awful. Couldn't wait. I was like, something's wrong with me. I really want this kid to die a slow and painful death. Cut him up, something.
Wait. Well, who was the girl? What the fuck? We're talking about Game of Thrones, right? The girl the little girl that was burned at the stake.
Oh, yeah.
In front of everybody as a sacrifice.
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck the Red Queen, fuck everybody. Or Red Witch or whatever the fuck she was. I'm like, I'm out of here. Is that her name? She was very, very lovely to look at, but I did not like her burning that child. And then I really was like looking around. I was like, man, am I going to keep watching the show? I don't know if I can keep watching the show. And then, of course, I obviously, by the end of the episode, I was like, yeah, I guess I'll watch the next episode. But that was a real turning point for me. I was like, ooh, gosh. A lot of people, like, I remember when the Red Wedding happened, like, my trainer, my mixed martial arts trainer came in the next day, and he was so sad. And I was like, dude, I've never seen you so sad before. He's like, they killed everyone. I was like, what are you talking about? Wait. He's like, they killed that poor woman with the baby. I was like, come on, what, dude? And I was like, I had no idea what the fuck he was talking about. But he was so sad.
I gotta tell you, have you ever looked up on YouTube the reaction videos with the Red Wedding of people filming their companions that knew what was happening, either because they read the books or they had seen it ahead of time, and they just want to record people just reacting to it that had no idea what was coming?
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's probably one of my favorite things to watch on YouTube about just people reacting to like there's one woman at one point that's in the corner with her blanket, and the dog is trying to figure out why she's high pitched screaming. And there's this one older guy that's oh man, they're starting to kill everybody.
Yeah.
God bless.
Also, that was a weird point for me was, and then I think we should get off of Game of Thrones and onto the Mandalorian. But when the dragon that was taken over by the Ice Army, I was totally expecting it to blow freezing fire. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And but instead it was blue fire, which is even hotter than orange fire.
But
that made no sense.
My favorite meme of that entire thing about the dragon being raised from the lake is somebody being what Home Depot did the White Walkers go to get these chains, go down to the bottom of the lake, wrap it around the dragon, and drag it back up? I want to know. I need some for my battleship.
Yeah, where are these chains? Where's the chain store?
Yeah, where is this massive chain store?
Let me ask you something.
Okay, go for it.
Have you seen The Dandalorian, which is me dubbing my voice over the Mandalorian?
Oh, yeah, on your Instagram account, I've definitely seen it, especially because you do a really great baby Yoda or Yoda impression.
Good. Does it make you happy when I do that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love those things.
Very good. Nice. I'm going to keep doing that.
I think you should. I think especially, the Mandalorian is probably the only thing about Star Wars that unites Star Wars fans right now, because the last trilogy is it divided people about as much as the prequels did, which is really, I never thought that would be the case, that something would be just as divisive as the prequels. And here we are with this current trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah, man, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? But the Mandalorian's good.
Yeah, no, the Mandalorian is solid. I love the practical effects of it. I love that Baby Yoda is I know it's called a child, but let's be real, it's Baby Yoda. Is just brilliant. I love that he's mostly animatronic. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Jim Henson days. So yeah, what's your thoughts about it?
I love it. I really do. I always wanted to have some kind of, Boba Fett, bounty hunter related spin-off, So this is right up my alley. And it also, I like it because it's Lone Wolf and Cub, and it's also like Samurai Jack in a lot of ways, It's he goes from town to town, and he's the reluctant hero, and like that episode where he goes to the town and they're fighting off the what is it, it's not an AT-AT, but it's like the two-legged AT-AT,
Mm-hmm.
You know that episode?
Which episode is that?
Jack. I can't remember, but he's with the mixed martial arts lady bounty hunter. I'm forgetting everyone's name. Yeah, he's with her, and they go to this town, and and little baby Yoda is eating blue shrimp and hanging out with the kids, and there's a village girl saying why don't you stay?
I know. Yeah. You could be happy here. You could stay.
Yeah, but in that episode felt very Samurai Jack to me, where they have to group together to fight off. He gets all the villagers to work together to fight off the. I don't know why. Now I'm mixing genres. Everything's gonna implode. This is getting crazy.
I know, the whole thing's getting great. But, actually, since a lot of the times that episode did also remind me of Avatar: The Last Airbender, too. About,
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. There's definitely episodes in Avatar: The Last Airbender where, Aang goes to different towns and villages, especially in the Earth Kingdom. And he's there, he's an unreluctant hero because he doesn't want to be the Avatar because he's a boy. And he's like, I just want to have fun and have crush on girls, kind of thing. And, there's a couple of episodes that are reminiscent to that of, like, him being in the village, helping the village out, and the village is like, do you want to stay? And he's like, part of me wants to stay, but I am the Avatar, and I must go and master all the elements. Oh,
I never got into that. But I dig it. I mean, I dig the concept. Like, I like elementals and telepathy and, like that show teaches about, like, chi and stuff, right? Manipulating chi. That's cool, I think.
Yeah, it's the cartoon series itself was so well done and so well written that when the movie came out, that's why so many people on it, because it didn't honor the spirit of the show and it wasn't written well at all. And but it was like, it was definitely about there are 4 nations: the Fire Nation, the Earth Nation, the Water Nation, and the Air Nation. And the Air Nation, they're mostly monks and they're peaceful. They can manipulate air and they can battle with air and stuff like that. And then every nation has, like, they master battling with the element of fire, water, and earth. And it's very clever, the fighting styles of each one and how they're different. And it's the Avatar is the one that can do all 4. And there's only one Avatar. And then when he dies, he is reborn. So he has the memory of all past Avatars and stuff like that. So it's really good. It's really well done. Yeah, it's good. I recommend if you're still in quarantine and you want to binge something, I believe Avatar is now on Netflix.
God damn it. I'm trying to binge something. I'm homeschooling my children, so it's really hard to have any energy to binge anything. So that's why I'm reminiscing. I'm reminiscing on the past.
On the past? What grade are your kids in?
Oh, that's a good question. My youngest is 4. She's like, preschool. And the oldest is 8. She's 2nd grade, I guess. But, it's real simple. I don't know what the fuck I would do if I was doing, like, math, like real math.
Algebra, geometry.
Yeah. It's hard enough just doing the simple exercises that they want me to do with them, Find the species of birds in your because I end up doing all of the work. Create a mini museum out of the art in your house and the cardboard, and then they just walk up to me and they hand me cardboard and paper and the materials, and they go, "Okay, do it, Dad." And I'm like, "What?" And I'm just like, "You guys have to put the finishing touches on this," and they just get, they're on to the next assignment by the time I'm finished. So it's weird. My kids will sit and watch a whole movie. It's like I shared Addams Family, the original with Raul Julia and Christopher Lloyd, with my oldest daughter, and she loved it, man. I was like, "You're gonna love this," and she was like, "Dad, I loved it," because she saw the animated, and I was like, "The animated is insane," and I was like, "They show crazy stuff in the animated version." I was like, if they're showing this in the animated version, the live action is going to be a breeze, And it was, right? And but the performances, holy shit! Angelica Houston, Raul Julia, and Christopher Lloyd, just the 3 of them.
Oh my God. Angelica Houston, I loved, so don't make fun of me, because this is still a great movie. I love Ever After, and Angelica Houston as the stepmom is just brilliant the entire time.
I never saw Ever After.
Well, I mean, I understand it is a bit of a chick flick, but it's like it's the best version of Cinderella live action I've ever seen. Like it's I'm such a Broadway.
I don't know Broadway, but I did Into the Woods, so that's what's in my head. Ever After. and the finger, and the smingle dangle do. That's all I'm thinking about it.
Wait. I love. Wait, we can go here if you want, because I love Into the Woods, and I have
the original recording.
I mean, listen, we can. I have the original recording with Bernadette Peters and Joanna Gleason.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
I did it in high school. So I saw that. I saw that Into the Woods, live. I saw that production. Chip Stein, Bernadette Peters, Joanna Gleason. Like, I saw that fucking live, like front row when I was a kid. Oh yeah, and then later did it in high school. So I was, and James Lapine directed it.
So great.
And then James Lapine directed Spelling Bee. So that was just like full circle craziness. Yeah.
Did your brain explode?
And the Chip Stein's like the Baker song. No more. I sang that song. To get into colleges, for acting college.
Oh man, that's great. I mean, I sang Moments in the Woods, the Baker's Wife song, when I was in school.
Sure.
It's a great acting song.
I always wanted to be one of the princes, They were so funny. I thought they were hysterical. And that one prince gets to also be the wolf, But of course I got cast as the baker. But man, that's a good number. What a great show.
It's a great show. Did you see it Shakespeare in the Park when they did it and in the Shakespeare in the Park that one summer? It was like 5 years ago, I want to say.
No, who was in it?
Okay, so Chip Zinn was also in it, but he played the baker's dad. Dennis O'Hare was the baker. Amy Adams was the baker's wife. Donna Gleason, I believe, was the witch. And they had, and I'll just go ahead and spoil it for you because it was great. What they did, the narrator was a boy, and the set was a tree house where you hear like a father and son fighting, and then you find out at the end that the narrator, the kid that's been the narrator, was actually the baker's son, and he was dealing with the grief of his mom being dead.
Wow.
And it was like, and then Donna Gleason comes out and she starts singing "No Children Will Listen" while the dad is like comforting the son. Like the baker actually backs out in the middle of the last number and changes his clothes to be modern day clothes, and it shows that like the kid's been telling this story from his perspective to give him comfort because his mother is gone, kind of thing. And it was really, it was so emotional. I cried.
Wow, that's funky, man. Breaking the fourth wall. That's amazing. That reminds me of The Princess Bride for some reason. The breaking of the grandfather and Fred Savage.
I love when Deadpool did brought Fred Savage back and strapped him to a bed for the Deadpool PG-13.
Wait, what?
That was good. Did you not see those commercials where like the Deadpool PG-13 version brought back Fred Savage and strapped him to a bed for like the Princess Bride ripoff where Deadpool is talking to Fred Savage and he's like, I'm a grown man. What am I doing in this bed?
That is hilarious. No, I did not see that.
Oh, you gotta see it.
Yeah, Deadpool, man. Like when I was reading Deadpool, the movies, it really won me over. And then I went back and I started reading those comic books, and especially the Jeff, how's his name? Jeff Darrow. Jeff Darrow, his art is just amazing, and those movies won me over. They're hysterical.
They're great. They're absolutely great. The marketing behind them too, I think it's in fact I think more brilliant than the actual films.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that was pretty genius. It was pretty genius. It's like Basic Instinct. It was weird.
Yeah, it's great. But you said you're working on your own stuff right now, and I know we touched upon it a little bit last time that you were working on writing some stuff and maybe and you have your comic books. So, like, what else have you been working on in quarantine?
Quarantine. Well, I'm doing my podcast. Quarantine starts Friday. And it lasts all summer. No, it's fucking, yeah. Jesus Christ. Fucking quarantine. I'm working on my quarantine. I'm working on my quarantine 15, which is a romantic comedy about my belly getting larger. I've been doing my podcast 40X, 40 Experience podcast, which I just been doing nonstop, like because I need to talk to humans, and so it's really nice to actually, because I'm basically talking to my children all day. And talking like this, really? Oh, wow, boogie. So I have to, it's really nice to, talk about cartoons for once. And then,
I know.
Yeah. And then, of course, comic books. I'm writing my comic books, which Heavy Metal Magazine is publishing, and they're starting to come out in July. They're publishing 3 titles: Moon Lake, Fishkill, and Brooklyn Gladiator.
Great.
Yeah, I'm just like a kid at a candy store as the world is ending. And what's amazing is, so Moon Lake is my Twilight Zone, series homage, which is like it's an homage to Heavy Metal the movie, and which is basically how I got involved in heavy metal in the first place. Like when Moon Lake first came out, I went to the heavy metal booth at Comic-Con. I was like, this is dedicated to you guys. And they were like, we like you. And so they've been letting me squat at their booth for the where you can come here and you can be wear this shirt and be a human billboard for us. No, basically it was really, they've just been so nice to me for freaking 10 years. And now, I've written for the magazine, which is cool. I've done other projects, but now they're like really like all in on my stuff, which is amazing. And also full circle, because that's how I got into comic books, reading heavy metal. And so Moon Lake is life breathing into that. I got plenty of more stories coming out. We're going to have another several volumes of Moon Lake coming out. And then Fishkill is my modern noir conspiracy story, where it's like the seeds of the headlines of today that are sown to grow into the sci-fi dystopia that is Brooklyn Gladiator. So Fishkill is the prequel to Brooklyn Gladiator, essentially. And Fishkill is it's really it's crazy, because all the headlines that are happening today, the lockdown, the illness, the virus, the riots, all of it, questioning the system, the whole thing, it's embedded in the heart of Fishkill. So it's just like, whoa, when did they write this? No one's going to believe that we wrote this thing, 2 years ago to get it ready for now. It's crazy. And then Brooklyn Gladiator is my dystopian sci-fi, what's it going to look like, 2033. And not very far, from now, just about, 15, 20 years from now, what's that universe look like when you turn up the dials on the headlines today? And then, it's a world where you have these cops, which are nanite enhanced. And nanites are the savior of all this. So everything that's happening now, imagine Trump next year stands up and says, we're going to try a new
It's a very experimental thing. We're going to sprinkle fucking nanites on everything. Okay.
So they basically start injecting nanites into the police force so they can deal with these riots. They start injecting nanites into people who want to it's kind of like what Elon Musk is talking about. You want to be able to fix your you have brain issues, down to it's like the nanites will be injected into your body, and if you have an issue, it will clean it up for you. It will, like, you're brand new. And so it's like the solution for everything. It's creating it's like, what's the garbage solution? Give it to the fucking nanites. They're going to turn it into gold. The nanites will, if you program, they will turn it into whatever you need it to turn into. Wow. They sprinkle it into the water. He's like, guess what? We're going to sprinkle fucking nanites in the water around America, and that's how we're going to get the wall. And fucking nanites, they start, using the
cost effective.
Say what again?
I said it's cost effective.
Exactly. Nanites are the solution for everything. So they start taking, on a molecular level, they start taking, all of the nutrients in the ocean, everything basically living in the ocean, and they convert it into materials for the wall, and it becomes this patriotic thing. Just give your. It's like World War II, and the rations.
Buy bonds.
Yeah, give your extra metal over to the wall, and so everything's redacted, and technology is just, it's literally in everyone's bloodstream. And it's like 1984, everyone's constantly being, it's constant surveillance. And the main hero, John Miller, who is this guy who is basically just like you look at him, judge him by the surface, and he looks like a meathead. He's just like this cage fighting, death match winning guy who is just like trying to get by. He looks like a criminal, but how is he maneuvering in this world which is under a microscope? And he's rejected all of the tech, which has been very hard. And he's rejected, basically everything about it, the information. He doesn't believe anything he's being given, and he's going in, and he's inside, and he's meditating, and he's finding his psychic abilities, astral projecting, and he's using his astral form instead of how Doctor Strange astral projects and it's like
right.
flying around the universe. He's astral projecting. He's astral projecting, and he's just using it on a very practical way for him, because he's navigating the city, so he's seeing all the nooks and crannies in his astral form where he can operate and hide from the cameras, and he becomes this kind of like Robin Hood, stealing from the rich, giving to the poor. But his whole thing is like escape from New York. He has to get the fuck out of America, because he feels if he just gets over the wall, if he just gets back home to Canada, that he could get out of the barrage of misinformation. Except when he gets there, it's like fucking World War III, World War IV. It's high-tech war, and it is at America's doorstep. And, we have no clue. That's the heart of Brooklyn Gladiator. And and you can see, I could see a future like that very easily right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's always scary when science fiction or fantasy start to look more like a reality. I mean, I don't know, it's scary and also interesting at the same time that our imaginations can turn into reality, especially when it's a good thing. And kind of like how Star Wars could absolutely be a reality one day as well. I mean, I don't think we're going to be alive in that time, but
there are those that believe that Star Wars is actually ancient aliens and stuff like that, how there were past civilizations that were incredibly more advanced than us that are lost to time. And a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away is actually Lucas saying, it wasn't that far away. You know, that this might be our history. If we, and you know, they're unearthing all sorts of shit as the ice melts away, and it's like watch Ancient Aliens. You know, it's all.
Oh yeah.
There's a reason that Lucas put 3PO and R2D2 on the Ark of the Covenant in Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's ingrained in the hieroglyphics. You know that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I like the idea of Brooklyn Gladiator a lot. Like, I think I was actually going to ask you while you were talking about it. I was like, are you ever going to? I know it's a comic book right now, but are you ever going to pitch it as like a TV series or a film?
I am. I'm adapting it as a film.
Oh, great.
And yeah, and I'd be happy if if it got snatched up and we cut it up into made it into a series. I'd be very happy with that.
Ooh, like an HBO Max series.
What? Say that again.
Like an HBO Max series where you could have it be rated R and mature.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. My idea with it that would set it apart from other sci-fi, dystopian, gritty. Like I feel like I wanted to, feel like Brooklyn, 20 years from now, you start to get a sense of the grittiness of like a Blade Runner, always raining. You never see the sky because it's constantly overcast, and there's even ads projected on the overcast, cloud cover constantly. But my thing, so imagine that kind of universe, dark, but the hero is a real mixed martial arts guy. So this is where the idea sprouted from. I was at a Comic-Con. I think I was in. Yeah, this makes sense. I was in like Montreal or something, and I'm seating right. I got seated right next to George St. Pierre. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's basically Canada's. He's like a legend in Canada. He's like he's like their best mixed martial artist. The guy's like a fucking legend. If I put him in my movie and then I shot the movie in Canada, it would probably win an Oscar in Canada. I just want to make just because it has him in it. That they love him that much. And
wow,
he's amazing. And he was in the Captain America movies. He was in smaller parts in those movies. And he's seated next to me at this Comic-Con, and I have this one of the earlier versions of the book, Volume 0, had a Glenn Fabry cover, and it was just John Miller's face, and he looks just like George St. Pierre. I mean, he looks like Jason Statham. He looks like a lot of those guys. But I'm seated right next to George St. Pierre, and George St. Pierre looks over at the comic book, and he goes, "Hey, that guy looks like me." And I go, "Yeah, you're right, man." And so that started the conversation. And even I was like, I wasn't even thinking about it at that point. I was like, let me just put the comic book out. But then I was like, you know what? I love the idea of actually having a mixed martial artist in it, a guy who's actually going to be able to take a hit and give the hit. And the people I train with, who I talk to about the movie, they say, yes, that's a movie that I would want to see, because you have all this whole mixed martial arts crowd that go to these movies and they see right through it. They're like, oh, that's stage combat. Even something as choreographed and wonderful as John Wick, like they'll say like, oh, I love the jiu-jitsu, but then it gets into like, you can just see the stage stuff. And I would really love to make a movie that is 90% real fighting, So it's like just I there's a movie called Old Boy, and I recently there's the guy who did the stunt choreography to that is a guy named his name is hard to say, but his like nickname is Crazy Do, and he's the top stunt choreographer in Korea, and I interviewed him for this show called Story of Masters, which was like a docu-series that I did, and I made this connection with him, and I feel like if I got the guy who the stunt choreographer for Old Boy, and I mixed it with mixed martial artists, and then put that in the sci-fi dystopian world, I think that would be a really cool movie to watch.
I think it would be a very cool movie. I think the producer in me would be like, yes, but what kind of paperwork do you have to get together just in case, God forbid, somebody gets hurt on your set to where you'd be good? Yep, we're good. We have
that's part of it. That's part of it. Like they would have to sign some kind of, waiver. These guys are guys that take a hit anyway, And you say to him, look, here's the thing, they don't have to go full out. And you can they go, if they're just going medium punches, that still looks great. Any kind of contact is going to look amazing because there's no contact in these things.
Right, and I think it's because too, and again, speaking from somebody that like has a producer head too, is like because these things are all shot out of order as well. So therefore, you're thinking about, well, if somebody's taking a hit and gets actually a black eye, and then they have to film something that happens earlier or later in the script or right after, then you have the inconsistency problems. But I mean, you could also just put the shooting schedule, I guess, around just the fights happening towards the end after all of the, I don't know, it depends. I haven't read your story. I haven't read your script, so I don't know. But, I mean, there is a way to do it. It would just take careful planning.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't have.
And you can also just, like, make the makeup so that everyone just looks beat up anyway.
Oh, true. I mean, if they look beat up all the time anyway, fuck it, who cares? Go ahead and go for it. I think you should.
I mean, Jackie Chan talks about doing. Jackie Chan would do whole movies, with like broken wrists, broken ankles. They figure it out.
Oh yeah, I mean, it would take some planning, but you could definitely. The show must go on. Gene Kelly performed "Sing in the Rain" with 102-degree temperature, and he did it anyway with rain pouring on him.
Really?
He went. Yep, you didn't know that? See, I love Singing in the Rain. That's my favorite movie musical. And, yeah, that famous scene with the rain pouring down, he was sick.
Wow.
101, 102 temperature, and he was like, I'm still doing it. I'm going to do it. And
I was, I'm not Fred Astaire, but I was sick as a fucking dog during the Star Trek Star Wars fight in Fanboys. Sick as a dog.
And he still did it. Real professional right there. Like, I'm going to do it. Oh, yeah.
You don't even know. I was like on the side, slumped over. I had some kind of stomach bug that I ate some weird thing the night before. I thought I had bird flu. I thought I'm gonna fucking die. And they handed. I just put my hand out. They just kept on handing me large jugs of Gatorade. It's crazy because if you watch that movie, I'm a full like 15 pounds lighter in that scene, and I'm just chugging Gatorade, and then they would just be like, "You ready, Dad?" And I'd be like, "Yeah," and they just prop me up, and I just stand there and save my lives, and then 5 Trekkies would tackle me.
Oh God, that's great. Are you guys ever going to consider like a Fanboys 2 or 3? Make it a trinity.
We've been considering that for a long time. Hopefully, TV shows. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's actually was such a fun movie, but it's got like a lot of controversy behind it. So it's just weird, and it's like Disney now, and like, whoa, how do you finagle some of the humor that we did before, and with Star Wars, and so it's
these are different times. Different times call for different messages.
I have a story about Baby Yoda, which I think you'll appreciate.
I love Baby Yoda. Go for it.
So my youngest daughter, because I was doing the Dandalorian things, and my youngest daughter thought it was really funny, and she got like pretty obsessed with Baby Yoda, even though she hadn't really seen the actual show, and she doesn't really know who Yoda is, even though we've like dressed her up as Yoda for Halloween sometimes. She's like just figuring it out. So we were in this little house we have for them, like this little like a house that they have outside in their garden where they have all their toys and stuff, and it's made out of wood, and we were like, you know what, we're in quarantine, we're like, let's just let them draw chalk all over the house and make it their own. So that they got great like this like collage all over the this little cute little house of theirs, and I walk in and I look up and I see this like Tim Burton-esque unicorn, and there's this like rainbow like fluid coming out of its hindquarters, and underneath it is Baby Yoda, and I go, hold on, honey. I go, Franny, what's going on here? Is the unicorn pooping on Baby Yoda's head? Rainbow poop? And she goes, no, Daddy, don't be silly. And I go, oh, I'm sorry. She goes, the unicorn is giving birth to Baby Yoda. Okay? So at which point I was just like, of course. That's where they come from.
That's exactly where Baby Yoda comes from unicorns.
From unicorns birthing them.
Oh, God, that's
so now
cute. And now I know where Baby Yoda comes from. That's there we go. Excellent. So I know you have to go, but before we go, where can people locate your comic books?
Okay, at Fogler's Fictions on Instagram, and there's a link to the heavymetalshop.com, and you can start pre-ordering that stuff right now. It's going to be on shelves in July. Very, very proud of that. At Mr. Dan Fogler on Twitter. Those are the two main places, and then I'm putting together a website for all that soon. But for now, that's how you find it.
Great, cool. Well, thanks, Dan. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. It was a lot of fun, and we'll do it again. And then next time, we'll just talk all about cartoons and theme songs.
Perfect.
Till we meet again via online.
Until then,
goodbye, Mr. Fogler.
Goodbye. It has been an honor.